And oh, wow. I think we are live.
Yeah.
I think we are. Okay, guys, if you can hear us, please drop a llama on the chat. And let us know if you can hear and see us. That would be great. Okay, just give it a few minutes. Yay! Okay, thanks, Anya. Awesome. Amazing. We have people from Tacoma.
Wow.
All right, for joining in. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining our live demo. We are excited. My name is Jessie, and I will be your host for today's demo. And joining me is the very lovely Nina Hidalgo, and she will be doing demonstration of miniature wreath, which is really exciting because it's not every day that you get to see like miniature paintings. But today, Nina will be showing that. And again, this is not a step-by-step tutorial, but you are encouraged to, if you want to paint along, go ahead and do that. But if you have questions, please do type in questions, all caps, into the chat box and then type in your questions. And we're more than happy to accommodate them if they are related to the process that Nina is doing. If they aren't, then we are going to pull all of those questions at the latter part of the sessions and do the Q&A for you. But before we dive in, I'm sure you are all excited to watch Nina do her miniature wreath. But before we dive in, I just want to drop in a link, which of course here at Etcher, we are very much interested to hear your thoughts about the content that we're putting out there on YouTube and our classes. So we do want to hear from you. So I'm just dropping in here the link for the survey for this specific demo. And I'm just going to type that into the chat. And it will just take a few minutes of your time, you guys, but we would love to hear your thoughts about this demo. And Nina would also want to hear your feedback as well. And if you missed to receive the reference photo for today's demo, I'm going to drop that into the chat as well so that you have a reference. And okay, we have Rosie from Long Island. Hey, you guys. Thank you for joining. That is awesome. Okay, again, please, we want this to be as interactive as possible. So please type in your questions again, all caps, and then your questions and just put them into the chat box. And I think we are all excited to watch Nina do her demo. I'm going to drop in her Instagram handle as well, so you can tag her if you paint along during the session. You can tag her on Instagram. I'm sure she would love to hear from you as well. So let me just put that into the chat. Okay. All right. Without further ado, I think, Nina, we are ready. So let me just pass the control to you and then you can get started.
Thank you so much, Jessie. Hi, everyone. I'm Nina Hidalgo. I'm a miniature painter from the Philippines. Well, I started as a watercolor calligrapher in 2016 in preparation for our DIY wedding invites. And then I slowly transitioned into miniature painting early 2018. As a child, I was really into tiny random things, like anything tiny I like to collect. So I just realized that when I gave birth in 2017, and I thought that having it combined miniature and watercolor would be best. And little did I know it, the first video that I did went viral. So I continued it, and I hope this demo can bring you hope and joy. And I hope you paint along. If you do, please tag us on Instagram, and I'll show you the demonstration of the miniature floral wreath right now. And also, before we begin, I just want to thank Etcher as well for giving me the opportunity to share miniature painting to your audience and to my audience as well. So thank you for doing this. And
Thank you
without
for
further,
saying yes as
you're
well.
welcome.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. I was really excited when I read the
Mhm.
message. So
Oh,
I
wow.
said yes immediately without thinking twice.
I'm sure you'll do great.
Thank
Amazing.
you. Thank you. So I'll just introduce you to the materials that I'll be using. Of course, this is actually the painting that I did, which you can see from the poster, the teasers from Etcher. And this is our reference. So we'll be making one miniature rose wreath. It's actually not too tiny because I really don't want to strain your eyes if you're a beginner in terms of mini painting. So, but today I'll be using Etcher's sketchbook. So we're going to be using a different one rather than what I'm usually using. This is kind of, this journal kind of surprised me because I like cold pressed watercolor, and it's really nice from the texture up to the, if you're into wet on wet technique when it comes to watercolors, this is the best journal or sketchbook for you. So I'll just open it. Well, I already have one that's open, but I'll just show you how beautiful it is when you actually open it. And you can have it or you can purchase it on www.etcher.com, and they come in bundles, I think. This is A5, if I'm not mistaken. So very beautiful. And now
Thanks,
I'm gonna,
Nina.
you're welcome. I'm just gonna put it aside because I don't wanna ruin the cover. It's so beautiful because the first one that I have, I tried to paint on the cover, but I haven't finished it yet. Well, you won't be able to see it right now because I covered it.
Mhm.
It's gonna be a surprise. So let's move on to the roses. I actually did something here. Wait, let me just zoom in so you can have a better
Wow.
um okay.
I love the colors that you use there, Nina.
Thank you. This is my current favorite color, English red. So that's what we will be using today. And of course, the 37 well palette from Etcher as well. This is my favorite because it's mini, it's so small, and it's so cute.
It fits perfectly with your style of painting and the materials
Yes,
that
it
you use.
is. So let me just grab the wells from the inside. All right, so if you're painting along, I suggest you grab at least 200 GSM of watercolor paper so we can have, better absorbment of water because we're going to be using watercolors. I have watercolors in here. The colors that I like to use right now are English red and green. But if you don't have that, red is fine. Any shade of red is fine. Any shade of green is fine. If you do have some yellow and browns, it would be nice because we're gonna be mixing colors to get some more colors to produce some more colors. All right, and for the brush, I'll just be using a regular round brush. This is size 0. You can definitely use sizes 1 or 2 if you don't have a 0. That's perfectly fine.
Mhm.
And for detailing, I'll be using 5/0 brush. This is just for the veins of the leaves and for some for the budding roses that we have in here. So that's just the purpose of it. If we decide to do more detailing later on, I'll be using a 20/0. I hope we don't get to that point because I don't want to hurt your eyes. I don't want to strain your eyes. And your jar of water, of course, for brush cleaning. If you do have a rag or a paper towel, that will be helpful as well. Let me just clip my journal. Yeah, no. All right, so I guess we can go ahead and start. Let me just show you some techniques or some strokes that you might find useful before you go ahead and proceed with miniature painting. And just a friendly advice, if you are a beginner and really want to, pursue miniature painting, you have to go for at least 4 by 4 inches first before you move to much smaller scales. Okay. All right, let's just use this side so we can still see the roses that we have in here. And of course, our mixing palette. Okay. If you're right-handed, it's better you put everything that you need in your right. If you're left-handed, everything to your left so you can easily grab anything that you need. Right now, I'm just making sure that my round brush is clean because that's what I'm going to use. You may want to grab any color of your choice. Right now, what's available on my end is, let me see. This is actually ruby, I think.
What color is that again, Nina?
This is ruby. If you want to know what the brand of watercolor is, it's White Nights.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So I'm just diluting the watercolor and I'll be starting with some strokes that you might find useful. So we begin with the thin strokes. When we talk about the thin strokes, we are definitely just going to be using the tip only of the bristles of your brush, and we are going to apply only light pressure. So we will start from bottom, going up, and don't be pressured. At first, you might get broken lines, but that's okay. All you have to do is to do it again. Just make sure that you are having light pressure only from bottom to top. And these lines are going to be helpful for the stems and for detailing later on. Now let's proceed with the strokes. These are just, exercise, warm up before we proceed.
Swirl. Okay.
Okay, so down strokes or thick strokes, sorry. So it's just the opposite. We're going to start at the top going down, but with heavy pressure. Not too heavy to the point that you'll break the bristles of your brush. At least 3/4 of your bristles are used. I'll just put it like this so you can better see. Like that. Okay. And for the petals, we are just going to be doing some C strokes, inverted C strokes. We can achieve that by combining the two strokes that we just did, which are the thin and the thick strokes. We begin with the thin by using only the tip of the brush, transitioning to thick. So this is an inverted C. Going back to thin. And this is going to be helpful for your petals. Let me just do that again. I think the light reflection is too much. So let's do that again. All right. And we're going to do that on to the other side. And when you actually get used to it, it would not look symmetrical because right now I'm trying to demonstrate. You might think that you need to make it look like symmetrical. Of course, at the beginning, it might, but when you get used to it, it will just, your brush will just flow depending on your brush strokes.
Okay. So
Now
these are
let's,
for the petals that the drills or
yeah,
the practice are for the petals.
right, for the petals. Okay. And sorry, I did not warn you before. We're not gonna be doing, heavy sketching because this style is just, semi loose. So we really don't need, heavy sketching at this point.
Okay.
All right. Now let's move on to the leaves, which is my most favorite part. I'm diluting green watercolor. So for the leaves, it's combination of the three actually. Let me start with the thin stroke, just a very, very short thin stroke. I'm not sure if you'll be able to see that. So let me just um, try if I can still zoom. Yes, I can still zoom it. Okay, I did a very, very short line in here. Now let me do that again. Short line, transition to thick C,
Okay, yeah,
almost C.
that's perfect. Can we move it a little bit up to, yeah, okay, thanks, Nina.
Okay,
Okay.
just a little bit like C. It's actually not gonna look like letter C at all times because we are copying the actual leaves.
Mhm.
All right. This is just one stroke. So if I do that again in one stroke, we begin with a thin stroke, transitioning to thick, and then going back to thin. So we made a one stroke leaf. Now, if you want to make it a two stroke leaf and you want to make it look more interesting, of course you want to have some variations of your leaves in your wreath. What we are going to do is to have it two instead of one stroke. So do the first process and then we leave a very thin space in between to make the other side of the leaf. And you might want to leave the tip of the leaf pointy so it would look, like a leaf. But of course, you may or may not do that in all your leaves in the wreath. I'll try to connect all the leaves so you can see how it look like when they are together. So I'm making a bunch of like one stroke leaves. I'm trying to make it bigger than my usual painting.
For
That's it.
demonstration purposes. Thank
Yes.
you.
And of course, if you really want to have some variations, okay, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna say that again, the word again.
That is
It's
absolutely
really
okay.
hard.
We have someone, Playcrafts PH said hi, Nina.
Hi Beth, she's a friend. Hi Beth, and I think Michelle too is watching.
Oh, that's great.
Okay, now I'm nervous. Okay, where was
You're
I?
doing great. You're doing great.
All right. So I just want to show you how it would look like in the stem when they are all together. And speaking of variations, okay. Speaking of variations, you can definitely mix some yellows into your green so you can have a light green or more into yellowish, green, and place it randomly in your um, in this set. And if you want to have a longer leaf, all you have to do is to extend that thick stroke. Okay, thin stroke to thick, extending, and then lifting. If you want to make a two-stroke leaf, same process. That's it. Okay, and I hope that is going to be helpful for you later on. Right now, I just want to share some techniques. There are a lot of techniques when it comes to watercolor, of course, but I just want to share what we will be using for today. Okay, so what we will be using for today, this is called wet and dry. So your brush is loaded with diluted watercolor while your paper is dry. So it's just like this, what we're actually doing already. These are all wet and dry. So again, your brush is wet, loaded with watercolors, and your paper is dry. One more is wet and wet. So your brush is wet and your paper is wet. We're just gonna wet the paper. And then I'll just drop some colors in here so you can see the difference between the two techniques. So the wet and wet, it will just bleed and it will give you like a hazy feeling or hazy look. And we're gonna be using that on the layers of our petals later on. And lastly, the dry and dry, of course, you have to just clean your brush and have a little bit of water into it. So I'm just gonna remove some of those water. Of course, you have to wet it a little, but not too much, just enough for you to grab some color onto your palette and go directly onto your paper. So as you see, as I try to like paint on my paper, it gives or it shows you the texture of the paper because my brush is dry and the paper is dry. So this is dry and dry technique. We're gonna be doing this for the stems of our budding roses. I'll show you how it would look like later on. Maybe I'll show you now. I'll just show it to you now. So it would look like this. See the crispiness of this stems. That's dry and dry technique. All right, so I guess we can move on and make a rose. We're just gonna make one rose and then we will proceed in making the actual floral wreath. Okay.
Awesome, Nina. We have a comment here in the chat box from Angelina from Canada. She said, you are so talented and she thanks you for sharing your knowledge. And we have Joe joining in from Hong Kong as well. So we have people watching from all over the globe.
Wow, thank you so much, Angelina. Thank you, everyone. I appreciate that. It gives me more joy. Okay, I was just finding the word. I'm sorry. Okay, so as I've told you, my current favorite is actually English red. It's a brownish red, and it's very nice. So that's what I'll be using right now.
If they don't have English red, Nina, I'm just thinking if they want to achieve somehow a little bit, something that's close to English red. You said it's sort of brownish and mixture of red. Can they mix brown and red?
That's a very good question. Thank you, Jessie, for bringing that up. Yep, you can definitely, if you're using like a bright red, you can grab a little bit of umber, or if you do have brown, yes, you may add a little bit into your bright red so you can make at least or somehow get the same shade.
Okay. Thanks, Nina.
Thank you. It's kind of look like rust, I think.
Oh, okay. Got it.
Saturated rust. All right, so let's begin. And I'm sorry, before I actually move on to the rose, I just want to tell you as well that when it comes to the consistency of your watercolor, the more water you put into it, the paler your watercolor becomes, and the more pigment or the more paint you put into it, of course, it would come thicker and more vibrant.
Right.
Okay. So we will begin. I mixed the English red with the water. And this is just actually a tea consistency. Same with the tea that we're drinking. Same consistency. And more pigment. Grabbing the pigment directly from my palette. And this time, it's not actually moving because it has more pigment than water, unlike the first one that I did.
Mhm.
Okay, and lastly, it's the most watery mixture. So it's the palest one. Okay, I think I'm good.
Very
And
good.
we can begin with the rose. We start by loading your brush with the thickest mixture that we have. And then at the middle of your rose, we are going to apply light pressure. Remember the thin strokes, but this time we are going to make a swirl. Just a little swirl. Okay, I'm gonna zoom that. Okay, you have to forgive me. It's so small. Okay. So I made a swirl. It doesn't need to be perfect as long as you can see it's like this.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's better, Nina. It's then.
Okay. So it's like this. And it doesn't matter if it's continuous or broken. That can be fixed later on. At least we have already established the center of our rose. Now, I'm just removing excess pigment from my brush and I'm moving to my first mixture, which is watery than the first one. What I will be doing is to add the C strokes. Remember the C strokes, the one that we have here for our petals. And in between each layer, we're gonna leave some white space. And that's what I'm gonna show you. I will not stick it to the center because I want to leave some white space in between just to make a separation between the two. So this is what I'm talking about. It's not a perfect letter C, but it's like letter C, right? But it's just inverted. So that's what we're going to be doing. And the more that you go out or, sorry, my brain stopped translating.
It's okay.
So the outer petals, as we go out to the outer petals, we're gonna be having paler colors. I'm sorry.
So we're using the more water, less pigment
Yeah.
mixture.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thanks,
Nina,
Jessie.
a quick question. Where you haven't changed your brush, right? It's still the same brush that you've been using since the start of the demo. Is that right?
Yes, that's
And the
right.
size, I think is it Princeton that you're using? From what
Yes, it's
is the one?
from Princeton Heritage Series size 0.
Size 0. Okay, thank you.
Yes. You're welcome. And if you're painting along and you're using sizes 1 or 2, of course, your rose must be, a bit bigger than this.
Mm.
All right. So we proceed with the third mixture, which is the most which has the most water.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to continue doing some C strokes. Okay, right now what I'm doing is I'm adding more layers and I'm leaving white spaces as I add layers of petals. Now, how do you know when to stop adding petals?
That's a good question.
So, Jessie, answer. Just kidding. Just-
That is also a question that I always encounter every time I paint roses. When do you stop?
when do you stop? When it kind of look like big enough already for what you really want? No, actually, if it's already for me, this is just my personal observation for myself, which I am sharing with you. If I did like 3 swirls in here and it fits, I'm good with that size of rose.
Okay. That
This
is
is
a
in total bloom
mm,
already. So that's just for me. I hope that works for you as well. But it depends if you have a reference photo.
mhm.
All right. So I already have my first layer of 3 sets of petals, 3 rounds of petals. I'm now going to add one more layer into it. What I'll be doing is to just, I'll show you, sorry, is to just darken this side. I'll show you in this bigger C stroke. What I'm doing is I'm darkening the side that is close to the white space, this side, to give an illusion that it's under something. It's beneath the first round of petals.
Mhm.
Shadow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes a whole lot of difference adding.
Yes, and that would, you are right, and that would actually define your roses. Now I'm just mixing in between. I'm toggling in between these two mixtures because if
Mhm.
it's too watery or if it's too pale, it might just be like the first layer.
Mhm.
So we have to have like at least 2 tones darker than the first. And what I'm doing is because I'm talking too much, it
You're
has
doing great,
already
Nina.
it has already dried up.
Mhm.
What I wanted to do here is to have wet on wet technique. While the first layer is wet, we're gonna apply the second layer so it will just, fuse between the pale layers that we already have earlier to the new ones that I just made. But since it has already dried up, that's okay. What you can do is to just clean your brush, make sure it doesn't have too much water. So clean the brush and use your rag or your paper towel, remove excess water. You can even use your fingers and just clean it so it will just blend with the first layer that you already have. So I'm gonna make one more layer doing the same process. I'm still using the same brush. I'll let you know if I switch to a smaller one so you guys can see the difference. I'm just grabbing the same color right now. Okay. Now what I'll be doing, since this is darker, is to add more layer into what I already have. So the center of the rose, the swirl, I did another round of the swirl and it's now darker. Now I don't want to use the same mixture. for the center to the outer leaves, what I'll be doing is to add more water into that mixture and do one more round of shadow. Now, if it becomes harsh like this, what you can do is to blend it with a clean brush. Okay. I think this is going to be the last layer, so we can move on to the actual wreath. So right now, I'm just darkening the center going out. Okay, I'll just focus a bit. Okay. And this is actually my signature style for miniature roses. What I do is I outline them so you can at least see the end of the petals using the same color. This is the importance of the thin strokes that we did earlier. You may or may not outline the rose. So right now I'm outlining. I'm just gonna zoom out so you can see it. And then you can put leaves all around it. All around it in different size or variations. And that's the rose. We're now going to jump into making the actual wreath over here. Okay, now since we're not going to sketch anything, you can just make a marker, make an oval or a circle. But what I usually do is an oval for the wreath, just to make use of the spaces. So this is what we're gonna be doing.
Just have to say that rose is really beautiful. I'm getting the same feedback in the chat. Yeah, we have people saying that they love the outline and it's really pretty.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. It really means a lot. Now at this point, I'm sorry because I'm the only person who can see the sketch, but what I did was just a regular oval, just to know where my leaves will go and where my roses will go. I don't usually sketch. I always do mental measurement. So this is just going to be helpful if you want to know the placement of your roses. So I'll just show you. What I'll do is to make 3 roses here at the bottom right and 2 roses on the top left and some budding roses. Okay, I'll go ahead and start doing that. Using the same brush, size 0, using the same colors, same mixtures. I'll just put it right here. Okay, same process. Now I'll just quiet down a bit because I think I need that right now. Just 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Nina, yeah, we're about 40 minutes in, and I just want to quickly check. So you mentioned how many roses will that be in the wreath? Like the positioning of the roses you mentioned.
Yep.
3. Yeah.
we're gonna be having like 5 roses in full
5 roses.
bloom and indefinite numbers of budding roses.
Okay.
Don't worry, I think I can make it. What? How many minutes do you have? 20? Okay. Okay. So what I'm doing is actually the same process that we did earlier, but this time it's just faster.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. This Etcher sketchbook. It's actually good for wet on wet, and it really gives you a nice wet on wet look. I really like it.
Yeah, that's great feedback, Nina. Thank you. I also
You're
have
welcome.
one. Yeah, and I've been using it.
What do
It's
you paint? You said you're painting as well. What do you paint?
loose florals as well, but not
Wow.
not the miniature one. Maybe I should try that after your demo, because I've been
Oh,
seeing your works and I'm always fascinated at how you can do it. Like really tiny paintings. We also have a question from the chat box, and it's from Miss Beth. What can we do to make the fine brush flow the way you do? She said she's always running out of paint and water with small brushes. That's a really good question.
Hi, Beth. She's a very good friend of mine. Can I not answer the question? Just kidding. I think because I'm very used to, working on a small space, that's why one load of mixture into my brush is actually enough to make, lots of layers of the florals. So I think it would depend on the nature of your art style. Because I know Beth, she paints really big,
Mhm.
really, really big, which is going to be challenging for me. So, if you drastically change from painting big into mini, it will really be, challenging for you to, what do you call this? Like measure how much paint you have left on your, or how much um, one load of mixture into your brush will make. So it would really be challenging. So to answer your question, what you can do is to um, check the middle ground, I think, of how much or up until how small you can make an artwork because she really does big paintings. So I guess her small is like this A5 journal. So recognize or learn the smallest size you can, do your paint, and from there you can, get used to your or get to know the materials that you need for miniature painting.
That's a really good explanation. And yeah, I think Miss Beth have a lot, receive a lot of tips from what you just said, Nina.
Thank you, Beth,
Gonna
for that
definitely try that out.
question.
Again, if you are loving this workshop and the process that Nina is showing you, and if you want to create this miniature wreath and roses, then please do sign up for her mini workshop that's happening on the 17th of August. I'm going to drop in the link as well. I'm sure you guys are interested after seeing her process and would love to paint. I think it's really interesting how you can really create this beautiful pieces, Nina, which is using a tiny brush and just a tiny sketchbook.
Thank
And
you. Thank
I'm
you
gonna
so
try that
much.
out myself as well.
I'm gonna watch out for your mini loose florals. Okay, so I'm just again doing the same process, and I'm adding layers into it so it would look like um, the way I want it to look like.
Mhm.
And one more tip, you can get actually a better control of your brush if you're doing detailing, of course. Better grip of your brush when your hand is actually near the ferrule, this one
Mm,
of your brush.
okay,
Um, that's gonna be
great
helpful.
tip.
If you're gonna hold your brush the way you hold your pen for more control.
Right.
That's only if you need more control.
There was a comment by this that, and this was also what I thought initially that you were using some sort of magnifying glass to paint the.
Oh, I do have magnifying glass, but
Mm-mm.
no, I don't want to use them. It gives me they give me headache.
Okay.
Because it's I don't know. It's like it's weird. It's weird for me. But you may definitely use magnifying glass if you do have one. So right now, I just started the roses up there. Okay, just remember that the outer layers must be paler because that's the look that we want to have for this floral wreath. Okay.
Okay. So everybody,
Um,
we are nearing the end of the demo. If you have any questions, please do type them into the chat so that we can ask Nina and she's able to give you your answers, whatever question you may have that's related to her process. And we have a comment as well from Rosie. She said, work your way down in sizes. It's a good way to learn painting smaller. And I guess it could work the other way too, painting larger. Yeah, that makes sense, Rosie.
yeah. Okay, so this is the part where I'll change my brush just because I went too tiny.
Okay.
So I'm using my 5 by 0 brush. I just want to go inside this center
Mhm.
because I don't want to ruin the swirl that I did. It can actually give you fine, very, very fine lines. Okay. The consistency of my watercolor, it's more pigment than water.
Mhm.
And I'm just making the darkest points of our roses. Okay. Now I'm changing back to 0. Okay. You know what? For some reason, I think I can paint better when I'm holding the journal that I'm painting on. Because I used to paint like I'm holding the actual journal in. paint like that. Okay, let's give these roses some shadows. I might need to take a photo of it because it really doesn't look like, on my screen, it doesn't look like the same on the actual, maybe because of my lighting. Okay. Now we're gonna put some leaves. It doesn't matter whether you want to put some short leaves or long leaves or combination of both. So what I do when I'm adding leaves, I add it to the place that are having much spaces. Let's say this one. And you might want to have it in different colors, in different shades of greens, or if you want to have brown leaves, that's totally fine as well. Okay, now for the budding roses, what we're going to be doing is paint the cup like. Let me just zoom it in. Okay. I'm still going to try to put on some defined lines on top of the roses, but I'm just moving on to making the budding roses. Okay. So it's just a cup. It's a cup-like shape, like that. So I'm gonna make more on the sides. And all the spaces left are just for the leaves. Okay. And of course, we're gonna put some more on top of that layer. This time it's like 3 tones, 3 shades darker.
We have someone saying hi from Zimbabwe. That's amazing. Hi, Pamela.
Hi. So what I just did there was like to define the center of that bud. Okay, I'll try to make it bigger in here. So we have our cup-like shape. Like that, right? Cup-like shape, and then 3 shades darker than the cup that I did. This is the middle of my budding rose, and just outlining. That's what I'm doing.
Okay. Yeah.
And later on, we're gonna put the sepal. Okay, I'll just show you here so I can quickly work on the budding roses. The sepal and your stem. That's what we're doing.
You're making everything look so easy, Nina.
Thank you. Good to know that. I hope you will try everyone miniature painting.
If you guys are painting along with us, please do tag us on your socials. We would love to see your works. And please don't forget to hit the subscribe button for the Etcher Studio YouTube channel. That would be so great if you can follow us and use the hashtag Etcher Studio when you post your works, or even a screenshot or pictures that you've taken during this session or live demo with Nina.
Okay, so I did all that. Now I did all the budding roses. Now I'm moving on to, sorry, the sepal, using the same green that I have. Now I'm gonna switch from 0 to 5/5/0, just to give more thin stems. So as I've said, we're gonna be doing dry on dry here. I just grabbed the color straight from my palette and paint lines from the sepal to make the stems. So the sketch that we did earlier is the guide. So I use that to like shape my stems in the same shape as the sketch or the shape of the wreath that we have. And of course, if you're not comfortable yet in, pivoting your hand, what you can do is to rotate your paper. Okay, right now it looks very pale because we have to add more dark greens. If you do have brown, you can mix it to the green that we have. It will give you a nice brownish green, and that's my favorite shade of green. Very nice. It will be a great addition to your leaves. And I promised to take a photo of the final piece and post it on my Instagram account so you guys can see it. I'll take a photo of it tomorrow morning because it's actually night here. I don't have natural lighting.
Yeah. We'll watch out for it, Nina. And I'm just gonna drop in her Instagram handle if you haven't been following her yet. I just dropped her Instagram handle. That's at Nina Hidalgo on Instagram. So you can tag her with your works as well.
Thank you so much. Okay. Now what I'm doing is actually filling the wreath with, if you want to have more roses into it, you can definitely do that. But if you want to have more leaves, of course, it depends on how you want your wreath to look like. But for me, I want to have more leaves because I enjoy painting that.
Yeah.
Okay. So the dark greens that we have, it will actually help the pale colors that we chose, that I chose actually, to pop up. So once we put that, you'll notice the pale colors too. Okay. Now, when it comes to the leaves, what I do is I try to mentally measure and I cut it in half. So if you have it in half, all the leaves from this point goes up to here and from here to here. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
Okay, I'll just add some brown in here so I can get some different shade of green. So this time it's kind of brownish. Okay, more brown. And you can put it randomly so it will give your wreath equal like amount of color variations.
Right.
Because we don't want to keep putting greens in one place, same shade of green in one place.
Rosie said, so pretty. And she also signed up for your mini workshop.
Oh
Thank you, Rosie.
my, thank you. Okay, I'll just do the final touches. Okay, definitely the roses that I did right now needs a little more detailing, but I think I'm already happy with how it looks like.
Mhm.
But I'll just take a photo of it so you can see it. And okay, I'm not sure if I want to outline it, but yeah, let's do it quickly. I'll just outline it. I really want to add more leaves, but I don't think we have more time to do that. So I'll just quickly place the outlines of the roses, and we're going to be doing the final, super final, final touches. You can definitely close this with more leaves. Okay, let's just close them. And one more thing, for your wreath to have, you know, to make it look more interesting, you can put some teeny tiny dots random areas. And lastly, as promised, I'm grabbing some green straight from my palette. This is going to be wet on dry technique. This is my favorite part. You're not supposed to be doing this in all leaves, just in random leaves. So just the veins of your leaves. Okay, I'm just doing 3 here and 3 at the top. There you have our mini floral wreath.
Just in time, Nina. Awesome.
Thank you.
You're right on time. That is a beautiful wreath. And the techniques that you showed with us today, even shared different watercolor techniques at the beginning, especially the mixtures and the drills as well, and how to create roses and leaves. Those are really helpful. I'm sure our audience learned a lot from this demo. Again, if you guys would like to learn more about her process and for your mini workshop, Nina, that would be the miniature monogram, right?
Right. So we're gonna incorporate letters into our
That
flowers.
that is exciting. And yeah, that is happening on August 17th. So I just dropped in the link for her mini workshop. Please do sign up for it. And again, if you painted along with us in this demo, that's awesome. We would love to see your works, post them on your socials, and do tag Nina at Nina Hidalgo. That she's on Instagram, and tag us too at your studio and use the hashtag at your studio so that we can find you. And again, thanks everyone. Nina, you've been great. Thank you so much for sharing your process with us. That read is absolutely gorgeous. And thank you everyone for joining the live demo. I hope that you learned a lot and we look forward seeing you again on our upcoming demos. We do this almost every day. So please do watch out for our upcoming live demos and we look forward hearing from you. So please do take a little bit of your time and answer our survey form. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback about the workshops and the demo. And Nina would love to hear from you as well.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Jessie.
Thanks, Nina. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Bye, everybody.